Hey guys, this is your girl Chrissy Speaks, and I am back with another video. Did you miss me? Now, lately I have been seeing this word everywhere. Social media, Facebook, Clubhouse, everywhere. The word toxic. Toxic men, toxic women, toxic relationships, toxic people. But what does that look like? What exactly is a toxic person? How can you describe a toxic person? What specific traits stand out to you that exactly makes them toxic? Then I happened to see a post and it read, "Stop calling men boring because they aren't willing to contribute to the unstable/toxic expectations you're used to." Girl, I seen the second one. The second one read, "Kings, you're going to see an influx of toxic relationships try to rise from the dead. In hard times, manipulative people love to reassure themselves they still have access to good people. We're here to tell you to protect your peace, keep that access revoked." So I was like, well, damn. Is there something that a lot of women are missing? Is there something that maybe we're doing that we don't deem as toxic, right? Granted, the page is run by men. That's who a large demographic that they make their posts for. But a lot of the stuff they were saying to me made a lot of sense. And of course, y'all know women are nosy. So of course I'm gonna follow it and like it and read some of these comments. If I'm a toxic person or I'm a toxic woman, would I be able to know that I'm toxic? What are certain things that stand out? So why not ask the source? What is your definition of a toxic woman?
Someone who lacks empathy for who you are as a person.
My definition of a toxic woman would be someone who does not understand who she truly is. Oftentimes we think that toxicity is about behavior. That's one avenue of it. I also believe that toxicity is about your mental state. I think that oftentimes when a person's mental state is not in the right place, it can cause a level of toxic behavior that causes the whole being to be toxic.
A person who has no desire to improve their flaws. They embrace their flaws. And I don't mean flaws like every human has flaws. I mean, this is terrible behavior. You need to improve on this. And as a person, you just don't want to do it.
Someone who has a series of toxic traits, and within those toxic traits, they never choose to take any accountability for those traits. And then when a person calls them on those traits, they choose to run with disrespecting them or belittling them, or even going as far as cutting them off, simply to not have to acknowledge that there are toxic traits that are less desirable.
A woman that hasn't been healed from a past hurt. So because they haven't been healed, they don't know how to deal with the healing. They don't know how to deal with the issue. And so once they're triggered by that issue, they may revert to reacting in a way that may not be favorable to the scenario or the situation.
Have you ever dated a toxic woman?
Of course I have.
Definitely dated a toxic woman, or a woman that I would deem toxic.
I have to say no. I guess I've got a good radar for toxicity or just messed up people.
Absolutely. I've dated people who've had deep-rooted issues, and they didn't know how to deal with it, or where to go, or how, or what to put in place to deal with their deep-rooted hurt and their deep-rooted issues. And it has impacted my relationship. One thing I want to note is that both men and women both have deep-rooted issues and need healing from past relationships.
I don't believe I've ever dated a toxic woman in its entirety. I believe that I've dated women who had moments of being toxic.
You know, as I was listening to more of these answers and kind of just understanding a lot of the men's perspective, I wonder, do men feel really pressured to marry women? Or do they think like there's some secret agenda to say hashtag check mark, I'm married now, I got a man, I'm a wife? Do you believe that women are more in love with the idea of being married than they are with being married itself.
Wow. Yes, I do believe that. Here's my reasoning. I believe that because the Disney movies have caused a stumbling block to most women. Oftentimes when we watch stories like Cinderella, we see her scrubbing and dusting and being mistreated by her own family, that she goes out into this world, she meets this charming man who she doesn't know is a prince and has everything that she wants, and so they find themselves falling in love organically, and then he comes and rescues her away from her tumultuous life. I think for some people that story would be absolutely true, but others, I believe your story is going to be how you write it. And so I believe that some women are so much in love with being married than they are with putting in the work for marriage. I think that too many people are looking at people's love story and saying, I want something like that, when you have the ability to create something either like that or greater.
Like I could never generalize a whole sex or gender of people.
Women definitely are more excited about the idea of marriage than they are to be in marriage.
I think that people today don't value relationships like they used to. Because of it, people don't know how to interact with the opposite sex. So, some people will go into a marriage just for the idea of it. They will get married for the security of it. They'll get married for, the financial implications. They'll get married even maybe just for the company. But it doesn't mean that they're in a relationship with an actual person. They're just in a relationship with an institution or something that they do every day, like brushing their teeth. Just because you brush your teeth every day doesn't mean you actually like your teeth or you're doing the right things with your teeth.
I think that business and industry, they have to sell. So I do think that there are marketing dollars that are being spent and are targeting women at very specific ages, because that there's a machine behind selling products, especially the product of marriage. I can see how how the idea of being married can be over sensationalized by a $1 billion industry, which can cause women to be in love with the idea of marriage versus the actually work it takes to be in a marriage.